The 1% Rule, How to Outwork Everyone in 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you something real. What if success in 2026 doesn't belong to the smartest person in the room, not the most talented, not the most connected, but to the one person who was willing to be 1% better every single day, no matter how they felt? Here's the truth most people don't want to hear. You don't lose because you're not capable. You lose because you're inconsistent. The 1% rule is simple, but it's brutal. It says this: you don't need to change your entire life today. You need to win today by a margin so small it feels insignificant. One more page, one more rep, one more uncomfortable conversation, one more hour when quitting feels justified. That's it. But here's where most people fail. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel confident. They wait to feel motivated. Let me be clear, motivation is a liar. It shows up when life is easy and disappears when it matters most. Winners don't rely on motivation, they rely on identity. They don't ask, do I feel like doing this today? They say, this is who I am, and this is what I do. The 1% rule isn't about working harder for 1 week. It's about becoming someone who doesn't negotiate with weakness. And let's talk about pain, because no one likes to. Pain is unavoidable. You will either feel the pain of discipline or the pain of regret. One hurts now. The other haunts you forever. Every time you skip the work, you're not staying the same. You're training yourself to quit. Every time you show up when it's uncomfortable, you're building a reputation with yourself. And self-trust, that's where confidence actually comes from. 2026 is coming whether you're ready or not, and the world is changing fast. No one is impressed by ideas anymore. No one is impressed by almost. No one is impressed by potential. The future belongs to builders, to people who stack boring days, invisible progress, and unsexy consistency. While others are scrolling, you're sharpening. While others are talking, you're executing. While others are waiting, you're becoming. And one day, suddenly, you won't be chasing anymore. They'll be asking, how did you get so far ahead? And the answer will be simple: you didn't do anything crazy. You just refused to stop showing up. 1% every day, 365 days, no excuses. That's how you outwork everyone in 2026. The 1% rule is not about grinding harder or forcing yourself to do more when you feel inspired. That mindset collapses the moment life gets heavy, when motivation disappears, when excuses suddenly sound reasonable. Real progress doesn't come from effort that depends on emotion. It comes from identity. From deciding at a deep level who you are and how you operate regardless of how you feel on any given day. When effort is the driver, everything becomes negotiable. You start asking yourself questions like, do I have the energy today? Or can this wait until tomorrow? And the moment those questions appear, consistency dies. Identity removes the debate. When something is part of who you are, you don't weigh it against comfort. You don't need to hype yourself up. You don't look for motivation. You act because not acting would feel like a violation of who you've decided to become. The 1% rule works because it shifts the focus from outcomes to standards. You're no longer chasing results or validation. You're reinforcing a pattern. Every small action becomes a vote for the person you are building. Showing up when motivation is dead matters more than showing up when you're inspired, because that's the moment when identity is forged. Anyone can perform when they feel good. Very few can execute when they feel tired, bored, frustrated, or unsure. That's where separation happens. This approach also rewires how you see discipline. Discipline stops being punishment and starts becoming self-respect. You're not forcing yourself to work. You're honoring a commitment to the version of you that refuses to quit. Over time, this compounds into something powerful. Confidence grows not because you tell yourself you're capable, but because you have proof. You've shown up too many times to doubt yourself anymore. The danger of chasing motivation is that it trains inconsistency. The danger of chasing identity is that it eliminates excuses. When showing up becomes non-negotiable, progress becomes inevitable. 1% better doesn't feel heroic in the moment, but it builds a person who can be trusted under pressure. Someone who doesn't disappear when things get hard. Someone who keeps moving forward even when no one is watching. Consistency beats talent every time because talent without follow-through is just unused potential. Raw ability might get attention early, but it can't carry you when things get repetitive, boring, or difficult. Small, repeatable actions done daily don't look impressive in the moment, but they build something talent alone never can: momentum. And momentum, once established, is incredibly hard to stop. Most people overestimate what talent can do in a short period and underestimate what consistency can do over a long one. They wait for the perfect plan, the perfect timing, or the perfect conditions, while someone else is quietly showing up every day and stacking progress. That daily repetition sharpens skills, strengthens confidence, and creates a level of competence that looks like luck from the outside. In reality, it's just commitment playing out over time. Small actions matter because they lower resistance. When the goal is manageable, excuses lose their power. You don't need to feel fearless to take a small step, and you don't need overwhelming confidence to repeat it tomorrow. Over time, those steps add up. Fear fades not because it's confronted all at once, but because it's met consistently. Each repetition sends a message to your mind that this is normal, that forward movement is expected, that stopping is no longer the default. Consistency also exposes a truth most people avoid. Competition isn't beaten with intensity, it's beaten with endurance. Many people can go all in for a week or a month. Very few can sustain effort when there's no applause, no immediate reward, and no visible payoff. Daily action quietly widens the gap. While others burn out or get distracted, the consistent person keeps accumulating progress almost unnoticed until the difference is undeniable. Over time, consistency compounds in multiple directions at once. Skills improve, decision-making sharpens, confidence stabilizes, habits solidify. What once required effort becomes automatic, and what was once difficult becomes routine. Talent might give someone a head start, but consistency determines who finishes strong. The person who shows up every day doesn't need dramatic breakthroughs because their progress is built into the system of their behavior. This is why consistency is so powerful. It doesn't demand perfection, only presence. It doesn't rely on feeling ready, only on being willing. And over time, those small, repeatable actions quietly dismantle excuses, shrink fear, and create a level of progress that talent alone can never sustain. Pain is not a sign that something is wrong, it's proof that something is changing. Growth demands discomfort, and there is no path forward that avoids it. The real decision isn't whether you will experience pain, but which kind you are willing to live with. The pain of discipline is intentional, controlled, and temporary. The pain of regret is passive, corrosive, and permanent. One strengthens you while it's happening. The other weakens you long after the moment has passed. Most people try to delay pain, convincing themselves that comfort now will somehow make things easier later. It never does. Avoiding discipline doesn't remove pain, it only postpones it and magnifies the cost. Every skipped effort, every postponed decision, every moment you choose comfort over growth compounds into a future version of yourself that knows you could have done more. That quiet awareness becomes heavier than any early morning workout, difficult conversation, or uncomfortable sacrifice ever could be. Discipline hurts because it forces you to act against your impulses. It requires structure when chaos feels easier and effort when rest feels deserved. But that pain has a clear direction. You know why you're feeling it, and you know what it's building. There is pride embedded in disciplined pain, even when it's difficult. You can look back on it and say you earned something. Regret offers no such reward. It gives you only unanswered questions and imaginary versions of a life you never fully pursued. Paying the price upfront also builds resilience. When you choose discipline repeatedly, your tolerance for discomfort increases. What once felt unbearable becomes manageable, and what once felt hard becomes routine. You stop being shocked by difficulty and start expecting it. This shift changes how you move through challenges. Instead of asking how to avoid pain, you ask how to use it. Instead of breaking under pressure, you adapt to it. The pain of discipline also gives you control. You decide when it happens and how far it goes. You choose the weight, the pace, the schedule, the sacrifice. Regret offers no control at all. It arrives uninvited, usually when it's too late to change the outcome. It lingers in quiet moments, in comparisons, in the gap between who you are and who you know you could have been. Growth demands payment, and the cost will be collected either way. Choosing to pay it upfront turns pain into progress instead of punishment, and transforms discomfort into a tool rather than a consequence. In 2026, the world will reward builders, not talkers, because talk without action is meaningless. Everyone has ideas, everyone has dreams, everyone has potential. But potential doesn't pay bills, doesn't change industries, doesn't move markets, and it certainly doesn't earn respect. What matters is proof. What matters is output. What matters is execution. The world has grown too fast, too competitive, and too connected for anyone to get by on intentions alone. People no longer have the patience to wait for ideas to materialize. They demand results, tangible and undeniable. Builders understand this instinctively. They don't spend time hyping what they might do tomorrow or bragging about what they could achieve. They invest in creating, producing, and shipping. They know that action is the only currency that actually converts into progress. While others are rehearsing speeches, posting visions, or imagining opportunities, builders are quietly producing outcomes that eventually speak louder than any promise ever could. Every day they execute, they accumulate credibility, influence, and momentum that talkers can never purchase. The world's indifference to potential also exposes a harsh truth. Talent alone is invisible. Skills, knowledge, and brilliance mean nothing if they're not applied consistently. Being capable in theory is worthless if you never take the steps to prove it in practice. Execution separates those who remain on the sidelines from those who shape industries, launch movements, and leave legacies. Builders know this, and they accept that showing up every day, finishing what they start, and delivering results, even imperfectly, is more valuable than waiting to feel ready, inspired, or perfect. Execution compounds over time. Every small action stacks onto the last. Every completed task, every shipped product, every solved problem builds credibility that talkers can't replicate. While conversations are forgotten, outputs remain. While promises fade, results endure. Builders become unstoppable not because they are flashy or dramatic, but because they trust the process and outwork everyone quietly and relentlessly. In this world, the loudest voice does not win, the consistent doer does. The world doesn't reward intentions, dreams, or untested ideas anymore. It rewards those who take responsibility for creating, shaping, and proving. Builders are the ones who rise because they choose to produce, to act, and to deliver under pressure, while everyone else is still talking about what they might do someday. Execution isn't glamorous. It isn't immediate, but it is unstoppable, undeniable, and ultimately the only thing that separates winners from spectators.